Hello everyone and welcome to the FPL Cougars show. I'm Chris.
I'm Kieran.
And today we are going to be previewing Gameweek 18. In tonight's show we'll be discussing each upcoming Gameweek fixture, predicting the potential key players, differentials and clean sheets. We'll also talk captaincy, reveal our teams, plan transfers, go through our Cougar Cup picks, as well as answering some of your questions. Before we get right into the show, I just want to take a moment to say if you haven't followed us on the platform you're currently listening or watching us on, then do so right now. We're going to try and preview every game week over Christmas, aren't we, Keek? It's going to be tricky.
We're going to try, yeah.
We're going to try. We're going to go for it. So, it'd be great to have you with us. And, if you're not already following us on Twitter for the latest updates, you can find us at FPL Cougars. That's all one word. Cool. All right. Let's get right into assessing how Game Week 17 went for us both. Keek, do you want to talk about your points in our Game Week review?
Yeah, okay. So I got 64 points. Pretty much average is like I've been doing every single week for the last 5 weeks, basically. The overall average was 56, but I got just above that. KDB saving my week, basically, which gave me a 5k green arrow, which is basically nothing. So up to 122k from 127. I've been floating around the 160 to 120k mark for about 5 weeks. And so these are my last average scores, right? So I've had 66, 59, 63, 62, 63, 64. So, I'm consistent at least, but I just seem to be going nowhere fast at the moment. So, yeah, annoying. I had Lundstrom with 11 points, which is obviously nice. Anyone who benched him deserved to, not get his points. And then Trent with a clean sheet, but no returns, obviously, other than that. Mane with the assists, which was nice. The Grealish, the pen miss for my new signing. Yeah, fine margins. Vardy captain assists, rightful own goal, in my opinion. And then, KDB, just 19 points. What a beast. And Rico, third bench, classic Bournemouth clean sheet away to Chelsea, with no
the team
defenders,
most out
basically.
Of form in the whole league, getting a clean sheet away at Chelsea.
Through to the second round of the cup with a victory of 64 to 55. So
nice.
Yeah,
I love that you're mad that you're in the top 100 sort of 1,000 area.
But it's just annoying. I want to do something, and not I don't want to just stay stagnant the whole bloody day, because I want to go up.
Well, at least you're not going down, because you could be getting red arrow after red arrow. I think be happy.
I know.
It's Christmas time, Kieran, and there's going to be game weeks to be had where people forget to change their captaincy because they're full of merriment and wine. So just wait until Boxing Day and New Year's Day games will be great.
As long as those Christmas arrows are green.
We'll be laughing. Right, so onto my team. 67 points. You say about Grealish, so you and I both made pretty much the same transfers last week. I took out Tomori for a hit and brought in Rico. Of course, Rico's third bench for me as well. We've had quite a few comments in the chat we had a few comments in the comment section on YouTube last week about how similar our teams are, and we know I can't help it. I wanted the same players Kieran did last week. We hadn't talked about it, and now we've ended up got quite similar teams. But it will change again, because at the start of the season they were quite similar, and then probably for 16 game weeks they've been really different.
Yeah. And
now in the last 2 or 3, it's just sort of come back to a head. Anyway, to pick up on your Grealish point, it was obviously annoying, but actually it probably worked out best that he did miss the penalty, because otherwise we would have lost Lundstrom's clean sheet and his 2 bonus. So the 5 points for Grealish's goal, although we might have picked up some bonus, but unlikely because it reflected well. But I think that would have been quite close. I think the only reason that I got more than you was Pope, but I had I had the clean sheet there. Right, Okay, should we move on to talk about my overall rank? What happened? I went from 440k-ish to about 399, so a smallish green arrow. It's all quite tight as well.
Did you get through in the cup?
I did get through in the cup, actually. Yeah, I did. I got through by about
still alive
10 points. Yeah, the person I'm playing this week's had a score of about 40, so I'm feeling quietly confident this week. How did the person you're playing this week do? Did you have a look?
I didn't actually. But I think he's got 3 Liverpool. So I can't tell if he's a dead team or not. So yeah, there's that.
We'll have to wait and see.
Hopefully he is.
I don't know if you know. I mean, it's amazing how people can get knocked out of the cup. Like, you know, the is it Nick Tanner? I think the ex-Liverpool player who's number 1 in the world. He actually got knocked out of the cup this week by someone who's ranked like over 2 million. He's like a dead team as well.
Yeah,
so,
there's KDB and all those other guys doing well.
Yeah,
from the dead teams.
Yeah. All right. Manager of the week in the FPL Cougars mini league, Kieran. Who was it?
It was Shaken's team by Shaken Bisenkulov. Yeah, he got 115 points, which is obviously huge. He played the triple captain chip on Salah, of course, and got a game week rank of 210. You gotta love that. And an overall rank of 57k. He's 194th in the Cub League. I didn't actually check where he was before in his overall rank, but obviously up massively from that score. He had VVD of 7 points, Lundstrom of 11, Salah triple captain chip obviously of 48, Mane 6, KDB 19, Zaha 8, Vardy 5, and he also had Rico and Greenwood benched at 6 and 8. So,
just seen those bench points, Keek, as well. Can you imagine?
He could have got the manager of the week overall if he'd put those in. It would have been close at least, because I think the manager overall was 131, right? So he would have been very close. But
the thing is, I don't think logically you wouldn't have done anything differently there. Like, I don't think I would have played Greenwood over Mousse or played Rico over any of his free bench options. So it's just unlucky, isn't it? In the Cubs, how did you and I get on? I failed to remember who I picked. Oh, good lord, Johnny Evans. Yes, Johnny Evans.
So, like you said, you had Johnny Evans, who was Norwich at home. You got 2 points. And do you remember who I picked?
I do, because it's on my screen now, but yeah.
Well, of course, Richarlison, who, Man United away, got a yellow card, 1 point. Didn't seem to do much at all. Totals, I've got 44. You've got 54. December, I'm on 8 and you're on 7. I don't think I'll ever win a month in this at the moment. On to this week.
We've got quite a really tricky game week to choose a cup pick this week as well. I think that's quite a lot of difficult fixtures.
There is.
Should we just explain really briefly what the FPL Cougar Cubs is for anyone who might be watching us for the first time? If you are, where have you been?
Sure. Each week we pick a differential, basically. It doesn't have to be a differential, I suppose, but under 15% owned that is in neither of our teams. And we just tally up the score each week and each month for what they score FPL wise, and put it to our names, and whoever comes out the top each month, and then overall that's is the winner, basically. Nice. No prize other than bragging rights.
No, it's 500 grand this year, wasn't it?
I mean, we discussed it. I don't know if we agreed on that, though.
All right. Well, let's talk about the fixtures then. I'm going to put the game week preview up on our screen now. Everyone's probably going to take at this point in the video to say, oh my god, your teams are really similar. But our armbands are in different places, so perhaps we'll talk about that a little bit later, because we have had a few questions about the captaincy. Let's start talking about the fixtures. Everton against Arsenal is the first one on Saturday lunchtime. Everton obviously coming off the back of a win against Chelsea and a pretty decent draw and good performance against United. Do you think and Arsenal, of course, coming off the back of that hammering at home to City, looks like, I think this one's going to be one-way traffic for Everton, really.
Assuming they possibly get a manager bounce, and obviously they've slightly got one with Duncan Ferguson as well at the moment, so I'd be kind of wanting them to keep Dunk for this one at least. And I don't imagine Arsenal will have a new manager appointed by the weekend.
No, I don't think. There was a report this afternoon from Damasio, or whatever he's called, saying Arteta's been agreed, but I don't think he's going to be in place. And
honestly, I mean, they might get a bounce, but I don't think Arteta is good at all. So I don't think he's going to make any difference at that club, to be honest. So I think they'll still be crap and still struggle. But we might see a bounce for a little bit. But I don't think he's going to be very good. But anyway, Everton, we assume they're going to win, right? But you never really know. So Everton's fixtures other than Arsenal is Burnley at home, Newcastle away, Man City away, and then Brighton at home. So they're a bit mixed, but after the Man City away, they've got a good run of decent fixtures. So Richarlison, Digne, people like that could be in our thoughts again. But XG wise, they've got 5.57 for the last 4 weeks with 7 scored, XGC of 7.96 conceded, which is 19th over the last 4 weeks. But They've conceded 66 shots, which is 19th as well, but their fixtures have been obviously pretty much the worst they could possibly be over the last few weeks. So yeah, that sort of makes sense why it's so bad. But player wise, I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin is one to look at. 1.2% owned, 5.7 million. Cheap, that Mopai is sort of doing well at the moment. He's around that sort of price, and Jota and Ings. But yeah, he's had 2 times 90 minutes since Ferguson's come in. Looks to be first choice, I assume, until Ferguson leaves, or if Ferguson stays the rest of the season, he should be first choice. 12 points and 2 points in the first 2 games with him. Looks good going forward. Third for XG over the last 2 weeks, behind only Vardy and McGoldrick, weirdly. And then second for shots of 9, 1 key pass. This is just for his 2 weeks, by the way. Because obviously he hasn't played other minutes. 1 key pass, 2 big chances, 2 goals, and XA of 0.27. So looks like possibly a complete striker. And he's very, very cheap. So I'm tempted by him. Possibly more so than Richarlison going forward. But it's just who to drop in that sort of third striker strike for him is difficult. But
I think if you were feeling really punty, someone like Abraham could come out, because he's been, we'll talk about his form a little bit later, but he's been a bit slow over the last maybe 3 or 4 game weeks. But yeah, I do quite like they seem a bit just re-energised, don't they, under Ferguson, and they played well obviously in the game against Chelsea, and they look good against United, and DCL is a good price at 5.7 and low ownership.
Yeah, you tempted by him at all?
A little bit. I do. We've talked about it before, haven't we, about how much a new manager bounce does positively affect a team, and their short-term performances after that are really good, and we've seen 4 points from 2 games. We wouldn't have thought they'd get any points from under Silva. So yeah, I think he's sort of like a bit of he's low risk in terms of his price, but I think he's high risk in terms of you've got to sacrifice a big name or let's say a more reliable striker to get him in.
But who does that allow you to get in with the?
Well, exactly. Maybe someone else. So yeah, I suppose you've got to look at it that way. But yeah, their fixtures aren't too bad, are they? This Arsenal game, Burnley, who've been pretty poor on the road recently as well, and then they got Newcastle. So next 3 are really nice over Christmas. And I think that the last I heard today was that Ancelotti would be in place for the Boxing Day fixture, which I think would be the Burnley one at home. So yeah,
did you hear the rumours of Ibrahimovic becoming with Ancelotti as well? Yeah, that'd be crazy.
That would spice up FPL a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know what to even think about that. I think that's kind of crazy. He goes from United to Everton. I'm not trying to crap on Everton, but that's a downgrade, isn't it?
That's what Rooney did, Kieran.
Yeah, but Rooney was really at the end of his career and not good anymore. But I don't know. That just seems wrong to me. That move.
It might happen. A team that probably could do with Ibrahimovic at the moment, Arsenal. He could play centre back for them, and it'd probably be an improvement. They've been so poor. That game against Man City, they were beaten after that first goal inside 2 minutes. Yeah. And their away form's been away form and their home form has been woeful. I think they've conceded at least 2 goals in 5 of the last 6. I've got no confidence in them going to Goodison and getting anything positive. Tried to find some sort of glimmer of hope for any of their fans with this run coming up. They've got Everton away, Bournemouth away, Chelsea at home, basically between now and New Year, I think. Martinelli is a vaguely interesting one if Ljungberg stays in charge, because he's actually played 90 minutes twice in the last 2 games. Less than 2%.
Could be a good option this week.
Yeah,
in the blank.
He's not bad, and he's actually outperformed Aubameyang in the last 2 games in terms of XG. So he's an XG of 0.9 to Aubameyang's 0.5, and he's had a higher expected points with him. Not a huge increase, but 10.3 to 9 shows us potential big value there because of a 4 point. I think he's 4.5, 4.6 maybe. Yeah. If that sort of level striker is outperforming Aubameyang, I know it's a really small sample size in 2 games, but he's actually got the backing of Ljungberg and playing 90 minutes. He could be another differential option. But like I said a minute ago, I guess it's really difficult to sort of sacrifice one of your trusted strikers. And at the moment, I'd say most of the game have got players like Vardy, Abraham, Rashford, Jimenez, Ings, all sort of quite reliable forwards. So to take a gamble on Martinelli, it would be quite ballsy.
I think you only get him, or I suppose you don't get him. Basically, if you have him already, you possibly take the risk. But I don't think you buy him.
No.
Yeah, I think it's simple as that. Really, I was really impressed by him, but in his Europa League sort of fixtures, and he's looked like he has deserved a chance, and I'm glad he's getting it, and hopefully it continues.
Yeah, I like it. I haven't really got much more to add on Arsenal because I think the rest of their team is not really worth investing in over the Christmas. So,
I will just mention Richarlison's sort of stats a little bit. Obviously, he's now the 7th highest scoring mid in the game, despite Everton's sort of rhetoric of being terrible in their form. Obviously, but yeah, he's had some inconsistent home form since week 11. He's had 2, 2, and 6 points, and his away form in that time has been 10, 8, and 6. So yeah, his away form is obviously a lot better. But generally, his form is pretty good at the moment. When the rest of the team's been pretty bad. So Ferguson seems to like him, and obviously Arsenal are terrible. So yeah, I would quite like to own him this week if I could. But he's still 7.9 million. I think if you've got him this week, he's a possible shout at captaincy.
Kieran, I tell you what, if people are doing a free hit this week or they're playing a wild card, because I think this is the last game week, isn't it, to do the wild card, like the first one. I believe it is. So if anyone's taking like a gamble on a free hit or a wild card, then Richarlison would be
should be in there.
Right, be in my thinking. Should we move on and talk about Villa against Southampton?
Yeah.
Have you got anything nice to say about Jack Grealish? Because I need some positivity after that penalty miss kick.
Well, I think he still looked good. Mm-hmm. Everything obviously seems to go through him at the moment. Obviously the start of the season was McGinn doing everything really well, but in the last 4 weeks, their two stats between them is crazy different. So Grealish versus McGinn, it's 9 shots compared to 1. So that's just massive right there. Big chances 2 versus 0, 2 goals versus 0, an XG of 1.3 versus 0.03. I was looking through the on the Fantasy Football Hub Opta stats and just going through the pages, just like, where is McGinn? He can't be this low. I was just going page through page through page, and I was just like, blimey. He was like on the last page of midfielders. I was like, cheers. Anyway, so key passes of 6 versus 10. So McGinn's had a few more key passes, but I guess that kind of makes sense being a little bit deeper lying. Mm-hmm. BCC of 0 versus 0, XA of 0.39 versus 0.37, so not much there. And then points wise, 17 versus 7, and obviously Grealish, if he scored that penalty, would have probably got 6 or 7 points from that game. Mm-hmm. Again, would have been way further ahead. And at 6.1 million, got a rise last night, still under 10% owned.
I think he's 6.2 now, actually. I think he rose to 6.2.
Oh, is he okay?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So, I think he looks good. His form is 6 points, 9 points, 2, 6, and 0. Obviously, 0 was fine margins again. But, I think he's in form. Everything goes through them. They need to score goals because they can't defend.
And they need to win. I think they're just outside the bottom 3 now. So this block of Southampton, Norwich at home, and Watford, Burnley away, they're huge chances, and they're easy fixtures for on paper for Villa. So,
4 great fixtures.
Yeah, so I've missed the boat on Ings, and I wasn't prepared to do the same with Grealish. On the Ings side of things, he's probably the only sort of player to talk about from Southampton recently. He's hit the post in the game against West Ham. Obviously, his first blank in 5, and the fixtures do get a little bit tricky now. So after Villa, they've got Chelsea away, Crystal Palace, Tottenham, and Leicester. So I'd say perhaps only one of the next 5 are decent games you could expect some returns in. His XG in the last 4 has been 1.4, and he's had 3 goals, so he's actually doubled it. So obviously we talked quite a lot about how sustainable his chance conversion has been, because I don't know, it just seems like he's always in the right place at the right time, and maybe that's the sign of a good striker. But how much longer can that continue for if you're not sort of I don't know, if let's say your goals aren't a result of good team play, like he's just been in the 6-yard box to finish sort of rebounds and ricochets. It feels like, maybe that sounds like a sick non-owner saying that, but I don't know, watching those goals go in, it's just it's hard to take sometimes.
Well, apparently he could have had a hat-trick in that game, and he was pretty unlucky. So I don't know what you make of that, because
I think West Ham are pretty woeful. So to be honest, I was bracing myself for more Ings goals. So the fact that he didn't score was quite a surprise, really. Yeah. Southampton have been quite poor on the road as well. So I think this sort of bodes well for Grealish. I think they've conceded 2 in each of the last 3 games, and I think on the flip side, or on the other side of that, Villa are actually quite poor defensively as well. Like you're saying, they got half of their defence out, conceded at least 2 in 7 of their last 8. So I expect this to be quite a goal fest, really.
Yeah, they've only had 1 clean sheet since week 5, which was Newcastle at home for Villa. their XGC is 9.89 with 10 conceded, which is the worst in the league of the last 4. So, we probably need to brace ourselves again for Ings goals, but hopefully not.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, should we move on to Bournemouth against Burnley? You and I both starting Rico this week, obviously, because he's destined for a 1 or 2 pointer in this game after a clean sheet away at Chelsea.
100%.
Yeah, but I mean, how do they do it? Like, they've been on that wretched run of 5 straight defeats. Most unlikeliest game to go to Chelsea and win, and they pull out a 1-0 clean sheet.
I think we need to. The rhyme or rhythm or something is we just need to play him in what looks like the worst possible game,
right?
And then he'll get a return.
Okay. So what you're saying is bench Rico this week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically.
All right.
And play him when he faces City away or something.
Okay.
He'll get a goal and assist or something. So
we'll do that.
that's not great advice, but maybe it is. Last 4 weeks for Bournemouth, XG of 2.94 and 3 goals, which is 19th in the league.
Wow.
It was they got I guess it was a lucky goal against Chelsea, I suppose, but good play.
It was a good finish.
I don't know. It was a good finish, sure, but they didn't really create that much else in that game. XGC of 7.7 with 7 conceded, which is 18th for the last 4 weeks. So Burnley could get goals here. I hope not, obviously, because most people are going to be playing Rico. But we've seen that he doesn't like playing with us. I suppose he doesn't like doing well for us, basically. So Rico, he's 4.3 million now. He's I think he rose again this week. Just people are getting in blank players. 14.5% owned. I think he's worth playing, obviously, this week because he's got a good chance at a clean sheet, you think. He's had 9, 1 and 6 in his last 3, so obviously he was subbed at 68 minutes before Bournemouth lost the clean sheet to Palace, and he's still got 3 bonus in that. But he didn't do much else. I mean, his attacking stats the last 4 weeks have been awful. Like he's like last pages on for all the sort of attacking stats, so that has all gone off the boil. But we do know that he has an assist and a shot and a possible goal in him still. So we can all fingers crossed. But it's not going to happen this week, is it?
No, I just had a little look actually. He was one of the. There's quite a few players that rose last night. It seems like people are making their transfers early because they realise Liverpool aren't playing. But he was another at rose, so he's actually 4.4 now. But you're right. Okay. You're right about the clean sheet side of things. Like Burnley, for all their poor away form recently, the fact that they've failed to win 9 of their last 10. Their away form has actually been really good, like from attacking sense, and they've just not been converting. So they've had 8 big chances in their last 4 away games. That's the 3rd best in the league behind Leicester and City. I mean, the fact that they haven't come away with more points or just anything other than defeats in that time is quite amazing, really. It's Chris Wood that's been doing the, sort of like the main damage up front after that sort of early season. Oh my God, we must get Ashley Barnes, me included. Kieran, definitely me included. Yeah. It's Chris Wood that's sort of come to the fore recently. So in the last 4 game weeks, he's had 3 shots, not particularly lots, but I mean 3 shots, 1 goal. And he's had an XG of 2.2, and that's surprisingly more than Danny Ings. He's sort of proving there is good value in that sort of like under 6.5 million bracket. I think he's 6'2" now, owned by 1%. I think he's looking good. Sorry, I got the stats wrong there. That was 3 shots, 1 goal in his last game. So he's had 5 big chances in the last 4 games. So that's joint top of all strikers in the whole game. Joint top with McGoldrick, funnily enough, and Vardy. So he's actually looking really, really good. And points per 90 minutes this season is 4.5. So pretty decent all-round returns. But it's just investing in that Burnley striker.
Yeah, he's going to wipe out that clean sheet for sure.
Oh, definitely.
And I just hope Burnley don't keep one themselves. But I can't see much attacking potential from Bournemouth. But yeah, I don't want to see another Pope clean sheet.
No,
anything but that.
Well, who's going to be the one to threaten the Pope clean sheet? Because Callum Wilson obviously out. Josh King looked like he played well last game week. Looks like he might have picked up a little injury. Is he sort of a consideration now? 4% ownership now that sort of he's got sort of the central striking option and he's on penalties. But
I mean, I do have him written down here as a possible someone to look at, but I don't know, his stats have not been great. But he is probably through at the top by himself, assuming Solanke doesn't play. And we do know he is or has been good. But I don't know. Injury sort of niggle doubt sometimes. If there's anyone to get onto, I suppose it's him or Fraser, but he's obviously cheaper than Fraser. So I don't know. But their fixtures after Arsenal, even I guess Arsenal as well next week, they're good now. So they have a good run of fixtures. They got Burnley, Arsenal, Brighton away, West Ham away, Watford at home. Those are great. So maybe one of them might not be the worst idea, but until we see a little bit of form, maybe this week, then it might be the right time to get on King or Fraser. But from the stats wise, right now, I can't really suggest any of them.
No, okay, that's fair enough. Well, I think I'm going to be an interesting game for us both to watch as a Rico owner, but yeah, I can see Chris Wood coming up, Trump's here and Burnley scoring.
God.
I know. All right, let's talk about Brighton against Sheffield United. Sheffield United, Keek, up in 5th, I think, in the league now. Double from Fleck this last weekend against Villa. They just look solid, and there's so many options in their team from a fantasy point of view. I obviously had O'Connell up until a couple of weeks ago. It seems like the market force this week has been to bring Fleck in. I think maybe 12 or 11,000 have bought him in, despite the fact that he's banned until Boxing Day. That was quite mad. But yeah, he's had 5 attacking returns, Fleck has, since game week 11. So that's in the last 7 game weeks. 4.9. He's had 4 shots in the box, which is second most of all Sheffield United players in that time. What do you reckon, Keek? Downgrade De Bruyne to Fleck for their great run of fixtures?
I wonder if people are so accustomed to online shopping, they see a red tag, they think sale. He's got 10% off his actual price, and let's buy him quickly.
That would be a good feature, wouldn't it?
I mean, it just seems do people not look?
I don't know.
He's banned. Like, what's going on?
I don't know.
But yeah, maybe. I don't see him being consistent, to be honest. As a player to, how much was he? Did you say 4.9?
Yeah, 4.9.
I don't know. Maybe. I think you probably want to be at 4.4 and just have someone a bit more expensive. But yeah, if you've got that sort of 5th playing mid, Flex seems okay. But yeah, I wouldn't expect too much from him very often.
No. I do feel a bit sorry. Do you for McGolders up front? He's had 5 big chances in the last 4. So that, like I said, that's joint top of the league with the unlikely Chris Wood and the very likely Jamie Vardy. 11 shots in the box, XG of 2.2. He's had no goals, Kieran. Imagine his poor mum and dad watching him from at home on the sofa saying, goals.
That means they're coming, right? Goals imminent.
Goals imminent, must be, yeah. Against Brighton and past Matty Ryan this weekend?
I mean, it would probably be sod score that it does happen this week, yeah, but I hope not. I mean, Brighton against Palace last night. I think was it last night?
Monday.
Monday. Yeah, I thought they looked great. I thought they were bossing that game completely, and I didn't see a clean sheet being wiped out at all. And obviously, they've had really rough sort of fixtures, and their fixtures are obviously better now. And I thought they'd get that clean sheet against Palace. But obviously, one decent play from Zaha. They didn't do anything else. And he wasn't really the game for the saves either, but he still got one extra point. Yeah, so that's sort of very good for him or vital for his points. I think there was a graphic on Twitter this week. I can't remember who did it, sorry, but yeah, it showed like a comparison between all the keepers and where they get their points from, and Ryan was well ahead in the sort of save area of just that's where he gets most of his points, and so he needs to play teams that are shooting a lot. And Sheffield United seem to shoot quite a lot, so yeah, I can see some save points at least. And then I don't know, clean sheet here maybe. I thought they looked so good against Palace, so it's possible that they could. But then Sheffield United have been playing well as well, so I don't know. It could be a bit of a stalemate this game.
Well, Sheffield United are undefeated in their last 8 away games, and I think picking up on your point about that Monday night game, I just think Palace are just poor offensively, and as well as Brighton being, I don't know, okay defensively. I think it's probably more a fact of Palace being poor. They just, I mean, at home, they didn't really go for them, and I think they really could have in that, what they call a derby. So
yeah. So no clean sheet in 5 weeks for Ryan for Brighton. But like I said, fixtures have been tough, and that Palace one was the first one where they've sort of come out the other side. Even though their next fixtures are a little bit awkward, a bit mixed. Obviously, this Sheffield United one, you hope for a clean sheet, but then they got Tottenham away, Bournemouth at home, Chelsea at home, and then Everton away. So those 4 after this week is awkward to say the least. So I'm tempted to switch to someone else, but from Gameweek 22, I think onwards, Brighton have a great fixture run, so he'd be worth for having for them at least. So, and someone else as well, possibly Mopai, who I've got down here.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think about
actually?
him?
He's been doing really well.
He looks great.
He's
right?
impressed me because at the start of the season I thought, yeah, okay, here's one to watch. And then as the season went on, I was like, okay, he's just lacking that inconsistency. Picked up again a little bit, faded again, but now he's sort of come back into the fore again. I'm thinking, yeah, okay, he looks like the real deal, and he's getting proper minutes and proper points now. So yeah, I do like him a lot.
I think that's going to happen again, though. That's just that sort of price point striker, right? They're inconsistent, and when they hit the form, like Ings, you need to be on them because they're cheap and they're going to get you some points, and you need to get off them at the right time. But Mopai, 5.8 million, 1.5% owned, so real differential. And 9, 8, and 6 in his last 3 fixtures, but he had 4 blanks in the weeks previous. So never scored more than 1 goal this year in the Premier League, and he's had 0 assists as well. So it doesn't look like he's going to be a Hawley type player. No. Doesn't look like he's going to be getting any assists. Ings, Jota around that sort of price, possibly the better picks. But fixtures from Gameweek 22. Like him.
It's nice that he's on penalties as well. There's quite a few sort of budget strikers who have got penalties in their locker. We've just been talking about with him, King, and Danny Ings. Even I suppose Jimenez isn't really budget, but you know what I mean. He's not premium.
Wesley as well, I guess, assuming he is definitely on them. Because obviously he was taken off before Grealish took that pen. So
no, it's always worth considering. Like you say, the fact that he's playing all the minutes is what's interesting to me, and his price. So. Yeah, Brighton are obviously going to need to score to stay up. The fixtures are still a little bit... I think that the away game against... Well, maybe they're not too bad. That away game against Tottenham could be the only tricky one. Sheffield United are obviously good, but... As well, I don't know. You got me pondering.
I could see him scoring this week and ruining our clean sheet again. I think there's going to be barely any clean sheets this week.
Yeah. I suppose on the Sheffield United side, the only 2 things just to mention again... Baldock and Lundstrom. I mean, Baldock's now had 5 attacking returns for the season, 4 of them in the last 6 game weeks. He's shot up to 4.9 million, and 8% ownership. He's been sort of the most transferred in player in the Sheffield United team this week, 100,000. I mean, we talked a couple of weeks ago about them having this good fixture run. It looks like it has come to fruition with a lot of their players getting points. They've still got 3 good fixtures in their next 5 with Brighton, Watford, and West Ham. And in amongst all that, they've got away trips to City and Liverpool. But at any point you thought about doubling up on Sheffield United? I mean, they are 5th in the league, and we've had half a season now, and they're looking good. So they are got multiple budget options.
I haven't even thought about it even once. I haven't looked at Baldock even once, to be honest. I mean, you're the best person to answer that because you had double.
Yeah, I did.
And you got off it. So
I suppose I answered I suppose I got off the double up just for. I don't know, for price, I think, more than anything, because I needed some money to upgrade elsewhere. But I don't think that's, necessarily would apply to everyone. I think at the moment, Trent is a little bit on the chopping block for me, because I kind of want Salah. And Trent to downgrade to a sort of like a more mid-priced, lower-end defensive player is something I'm looking at. And when I see sort of the points Baldock's getting, and the attacking returns he's getting, he looks like he could be a great candidate to fill that Trent void. So, yes, I think Sheffield United are just looking really good, and they never get hammered, and their defenders are involved in their attacking play so well. There's always a chance of clean sheet and attacking returns. And we've seen what Lundstrom's done. He's up to 5-2 now, Keek. 5-2, pretty amazing.
Yeah, I don't think Wan-Bissaka ever got that sort of rise, right?
No way.
I don't think he ever got anywhere near 5-2.
Never got any attacking returns. Well, maybe like got the odd assist here and there and the bonus, but yeah, Lundy's just got the whole package.
Yep,
he's been great. He's top of the defensive. I mean, who standings now? I mean, who would have said that at the start of the season?
Well, it should have been no one because he should have been a midfielder.
Yeah,
but
true.
So it's just FPL have screwed it right over. Just putting him in there, and he was always gonna, assuming Sheffield United did well, he was always gonna go up there because he was an attacking midfielder.
Yeah. All right, well, let's move on. Crystal Palace again. Oh, sorry, Newcastle are hosting Palace at St James's Park. I think this is probably looking like the boring game of the weekend. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think so. Yep. Newcastle fixtures, obviously Crystal Palace, Man United away, Everton at home, Leicester at home, Wolves away. After this one, look horrid. So Newcastle are going to try and need to pick up a win here. But yeah, their XG is 3.54 with 6 scored. XGC of 7.23. There's only 4 conceded, so they're overperforming on both stats. So
Is that in the last 4?
Over the last 4, yeah. So Bruce possibly getting a tune from them. Maybe, I don't know. But FPL wise, still not great. None of them are really looking like assets, but getting decent-ish results IRL. But yeah, the team XG
nice.
last week without Almira, Maximanus, Shelby was 0.67. So yeah, they're 3 sort of most attacking players, or most like lively players, I suppose, over the last few. Well, obviously out and may still be out, and so yeah, I can't see much for them. And specifically, people to mention, there's no one. I've got no one down here, so sorry about that.
That's funny. I think if I had a free hit this week, or I was getting really spicy this weekend, I'd play Willems. I'd want to bring Willems in. I feel like Palace have not got a lot offensively, so there's a chance for this Newcastle clean sheet, albeit it's quite small. And I don't know, Williams could be a spicy pick for someone.
Someone's got to do something.
Someone's got to do something. What about Hayden then? Because you've got him in your starting lineup.
Yeah, he might drop down for Soyuncu, but I don't know yet. He's got assists in the past, and it would be great if it was this week and he managed to get a clean sheet or something. But I don't know. Is he going to get scored? He's probably going to get 2 points, whereas Soyuncu could get 0, or 1 or less. So I don't know. It's that spot is up for grabs still, I think. We'll see. That
last starting lineup place. Well, on the Palace side of things, they've just been, like I say, poor, basically, in front of goal. 1 big chance in the last 4 away games. That's the worst in the league by quite some stretch. I think the next nearest teams had 3. So, they're doing really poor. And the fact that their games are never filled with goals, I think it's been under 2.5 goals scored in total in 6 of their last 7. So, I wouldn't expect any major goal glut in this. Goal fest in this one. So I think defenders from both sides are the way to go. Obviously, you and I both got Kelly. I think Palace need Cahill back because their backline looked pretty patched up against Brighton with, was it Tompkins that came into the side because Cahill missed out, I think it was.
Yeah, that Reader or something came in as well.
He played 45 minutes as well, didn't he? The left back, I think he was bought under the ball, but he didn't have a particularly good game. Zaha that obviously got the goal in that one, but I mean his stats were, as they have been for most of the season, poor. He had 1 shot, which was the goal, 1 key pass. He's got 3 goals in 5. He's only had 3 shots in the box in his last 4. So, I mean, his attacking numbers are so dire. So, I think I couldn't trust him despite... They've got good fixtures, but I can't trust Palace as an attacking outlet, really.
I couldn't tell you how annoyed I was when I saw that notification of Zaha scoring. I was just like, geez, I couldn't... I stopped watching the game. I was like, praying I got this clean sheet in the bag. I don't care. Like Zaha's doing nothing, and then that ruined my. I would have had probably a decent green arrow if I kept that clean sheet.
It was a good finish though.
It was. But yeah, I was very frustrated with that.
Wow. I don't know what to say. Maybe he won't score this weekend, Kieran, and you'll get a nice green juicy arrow.
Yeah.
FPL juicy numbers. Right, let's move on to Norwich against Wolves. You've obviously said goodbye to Jimenez, haven't you? I kind of already, after having Rashford for 1 week, want to get rid of Rashford and go back to Jimenez, because
go back. You never had him.
Yeah, I'm talking way back here, and I'm talking last season. Go back to last season.
Sure.
Because, he's returned 10 of 17 this season, which is great. But the more interesting one is he's now returned 9 times in his last 10 games. So I mean, recently he has been on a hot streak. He's had 1 big chance and 10 shots in the box in the last 4, which is low on big chances because Jota's doubled that with 2 and had 13 shots in the box. So he's had more shots in the box too. So he's actually sort of a little bit inferior in front of goal compared to Jota. But I mean, he's still ticking over with these points. And I think he's 7-6 now. I think he just looks good again. I mean, did you look at him when not look at him? Did you look at your phone or computer or whatever on Sunday when you saw Jimenez return and Rashford blanked and think, ah!
I kind of just knew it was going to happen. Like I said last week, it was a reluctant sell, and I was buying Rashford for fixtures, not just that 1 week. And yeah, obviously he's a good captain shout this week, and he had barely blanked. And the 1 week that I did sell him was when he blanked. I'd only owned him for 1 week before that, so I didn't have so much of a sort of I don't know, allegiance to him. And yeah, and then Rashford goes and blanks, and it's just like maybe I want him back, but I'm gonna have to stick by my guns, and yeah, hopefully Rashford does well and Jimmy doesn't this week. Yeah. But yeah, he's probably my most feared player this week that I don't own, because obviously the fixture is good. So
yeah, definitely. I mean, Norwich conceded at least 2 goals in their last 7 home matches, so I'd expect Wolves to do well here this weekend, and Jimenez usually is involved. It's difficult though, because it's difficult to bring him in, because their next 2 after this are quite tricky. They're City at home and Liverpool away, so if you did buy him, you'd be getting him maybe for the short term. But I do think he is so involved that if they do get any sort of return against City, whose defence, well, I suppose City's defence has sort of improved in recent weeks. But yeah, the game against City and Liverpool aren't really ones you'd want Jimenez for. But at the back of my mind, this little brain cell back there, just this small one, is saying, "Hey Chris, what about taking Abraham out and get Jimenez in for this weekend?"
Yeah.
But I lose a lot of value, and I wouldn't be able to go back to him. So maybe that brain cell just needs to and just stop playing tricks on me. Anyway, what's to talk about from the Norwich side of things?
Okay, so XG wise at 4.38 at 5 scored, XGC of 6.077 conceded, so basically all on par. Yeah, fixture wise, Wolves obviously at home, Villa away, Tottenham at home, Crystal Palace at home, and then Man United away. So they're a bit awkward. But yeah, the one player that I called Pookie to score against Leicester, didn't I, last week? And he did, and he's obviously on a hot streak at the moment.
Hot streak.
Still 6.6 million, 17.1% owned, so still fairly high. And yeah, party back on, possibly party around Pookies. So yeah, he's had 5, 8, 8, 2, and 9 in his last 5. So I don't know if you've kept him. Our friend Pat did, didn't he? He? And he's been doing well. But yeah, he doesn't seem to look like he's going to get any hauls. Yeah, the one return, kind of like Mopai, seems to be about there. But one return every other week, basically, at 6.6 million seems quite good, assuming it's a goal. And he seems to get a bonus, obviously, because with his 8s and his 9s. So, yeah, his XG is 1.55, 11 shots over the last 4 weeks, 2 big chances, 4 key passes, 0.52 XA, and 27 points. So his stats are good. And he's the 5th highest scoring forward again. Yeah. So, yeah, I think if we... Yeah, he obviously had a massive run of blanks, but... it might be the time to sort of get back on him, because
another striker on penalties as well, Keek.
Yeah, I can see him possibly scoring against Wolves. I don't think Wolves are going to have it all their way in this game. I think it could be quite tight, actually. And yeah, Tottenham at home, I think they could possibly trouble Tottenham, possibly. And Crystal Palace at home and the Man United away, I think those are games they could score in as well. So and Pookie will probably be involved, because yeah, Cantwell is pretty inconsistent. Everyone else barely returns, it seems like, so it just seems to be always Cantwell. So Pookie. So I'm tempted to go back there at some point, but again, who do I drop?
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? Yeah, probably. I'm like I said a minute ago about the brain cell. Abraham is the one which is sort of on the chopping block, because I got him so early. I've got so much value invested in him. If I get rid of him, and I've got no money in the bank, and he looks like he's doing good again, I might have to take or double transfer to get him out, and I'm not sure I'm fully sort of finished with him yet. So it's tricky, but there's lots of strikers doing well at the moment, and as you usually find over Christmas, there's lots of goals. It's just typically, I don't know if it's because teams are playing so quickly, they don't do so much defensive organisation work on the training ground, but it seems like Boxing Day games and New Year's Day games are notorious for having like a high goals per game average. So the more strikers from different teams you can get in your team, the better, I think. Yeah,
I think people selling Tammy, I think it's a bit too soon, to be honest. Because their fixtures after this week are still good, aren't they? So, but yeah, we'll talk about them later. But yeah, I'm thinking he's going to come good again soon.
Yeah. All right, well, let's move on. Is it Sunday? Man City play Leicester, Or is it the Saturday night game?
No, it's the Saturday
night game.
5:30.
Okay. I feel like we still need. I say we. I mean, I need to do some like transitions. So like before we talk about a match, it sounds like really cool. It's like Chris and Kieran are now going to talk about Saturday night game, and it's like this really cool intro, and there's like some anyway.
Some fireworks.
Exactly, some fireworks, and then we talk about Sunday. Anyway, all right. So let's talk about Saturday night because it's probably the game I'm looking forward to most this weekend. It's Man City welcoming Leicester to the Etihad.
It's going to be a wet noodle 0-0.
Wet noodle 0-0?
No, it's not.
Oh, I like. Can we make wet noodle a feature of the week, please?
Yeah,
Kieran's wet noodle feature
game.
of the week. Cool, it's done. I'm going to have to start saying that in the intro. All right, sorry. Yeah, we got getting a bit distracted now because I'm going off piece. But yeah, let's.
Or just a soggy chip game. There you go.
Oh, soggy chip and the wet noodle. All right, that could be our new FPL show name. Hey everyone, welcome to the FPL Wet Noodle and Soggy Chip Show. I'm Wet Noodle.
Oh, soggy
yes!
chip.
Oh my god, brilliant.
Done it.
Okay,
you happy now?
Wolving it. Right. Well, okay, Man City against Leicester. Team stats. Talk to me about Man City before we go too off-piste.
Okay, XG 9.24, 10 scored, which is second. They've closed the gap to Leicester to 0.2 or something. Which Leicester have been obviously way ahead before that. So I think they'll probably be above Leicester going forward with the XG. XGC of 3.16 for 5 conceded. It was actually first, which for the last 4 weeks, which I guess is surprising. Everyone thinks that City can't defend, but they've surpassed Leicester's XGC
that's good.
over the last 4 weeks, despite conceding Leicester conceding 2 less than them in the same period. So they're the bookies' favourite to keep a clean sheet this week, which I don't know where that comes from either, because obviously Leicester have been so good. It's 14 goals in their last 5 games. This is including Champions League, all competitions. Getting back to their old ways, I guess. I think that's a lot of goals.
I wonder if because the pressure's off them a little bit, because everyone's like, the title's at Liverpool, or the title's going to Liverpool now. Maybe the pressure's off them a little bit, and they can sort of get back to playing their game somewhere.
I don't think the title race is over. I think if they think the pressure's off, then they'll get back within 5 points or something probably, and it'll be straight back on. But yeah, bookies have Aguero and Jesus as 2 top most likely to score as well. So Aguero back in training. I'm not sure if he'd start, but he's possible to, and obviously he's very low owned now. So he's a big differential going forward, assuming he's fit and he gets straight back in the team. So yeah, like him. But yeah, KDB, obviously the hero of last week. I think he was the second most transferred out with 200,000, mostly for Son, who obviously blanked. 10.2 million now. I think he went up again last night. So everyone reversing that transfer. He's been a beast this year. I think top scoring mid or top scoring.
He is the top scoring mid now. Yeah, and he's
not
1
top
point more than
player,
Mane.
but could have had a hat trick. I mean, Leno, what's he doing saving that? Let it in, boy, because that would have been crazy good. Versus Arsenal, he had 5 shots, 4 on target, an XG of 0.62, which isn't actually that high because obviously outside the box shots. 2 goals, 3 key passes, 1 big chance created, an XA of 0.6, 1 assist, 19 points. His first Premier League brace. I was kind of surprised that he had never scored 2 before in the Premier League. The stats, to be honest, XG wise aren't even that good, but shows that the eye test can probably be key. Most shots of all mids over the last 4 weeks of 18, which for De Bruyne, I guess you wouldn't really expect shots wise.
No.
And then first for XA of 2.47 those last 4 weeks. So I don't know. Can we see him returning? Is he a possible captain shout in this one? Obviously Leicester good defensively, but
I've got him captain at the moment because I kind of
I've not seen that.
Kind of fancy him this week. Yeah. I do fancy him as a bit of a captain shout, just because he's typically got a good record at the Etihad. I mean that game last time out against United was, I think, his joint lowest score of the season at home, where he's actually played, when he got 1. But just looking back at his last games, he's got 7, 2, 6, and then 17 and 13. So yeah, it's only twice, I think, in the last 4 or 5. I had to just double check on my phone then because I haven't got the stats up anymore. But so he's done pretty well at home. So I kind of fancy De Bruyne, but you're coming up against this Leicester side that are looking really good. I mean, defensively, they've only allowed 2 shots on target in their last 4 away games. So I mean, they are pretty damn solid at the back. I know that the opposition haven't been Man City's level, but that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
But they've not kept a clean sheet against a top 6 side all year. And they're not immune to being. I don't think Soyuncu. I don't think their defense is as good as everyone makes out. Against bad teams, they're good, but against top 6 teams, like they can be gotten out. It's Evans and Soyuncu at the end of the day. They're not world beaters. So yeah, I think City could score well here. I think I'm worried about Sterling as well. I'm worried about not owning him. And Aguero, Jesus, I think they could all do well. I mean, if anyone likely to score, like you said, KDB's home form is good. If he can just get a sort of assist or a goal or one return and captain, then in a week where most captains are going to be awkward and we're not sure who to pick, if you can go with a reliable KDB and get one sort of return, you'd be happy with that, wouldn't you?
Oh, definitely. I think it's just the tricky thing. I mean, the fact that Spurs and City are probably the best 2 options for captains this week. I can't consider United options after Rashford's sort of like flakiness in lower games. So
yeah, you can.
No, I can't. No. So I think it's going to be between one of those 2. I have to say an honourable mention for Vardy because of how well he's done in away games this season. So of all players to have played 8 away games this season, he has the second highest points per 90 minutes. That's 8.1. So the fact that he's averaged such a high score on the road this season has been pretty incredible. Obviously, that was boosted by the massive score at Southampton, and we have seen Leicester be a little bit not flaky, but not as good away from home against the big sides this season. They're looking good. He's averaged 1.25 big chances per game in the last 4, which is the 3rd highest in the league, and he's averaging 3.5 shots per game in the last 4 as well. But like you say, City's defence has improved in recent weeks, so I think it's just a fascinating game to see how these 2 match up against one another.
It's such a shame he didn't score last week, because if he was still on that run,
it would be exciting.
Then he would have been a captaincy candidate, because last week we were talking about, are we going to captain him versus City? Because why not when he's on form?
Yeah.
So and now we're not, just because he's blanked once.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know. He can score, right? But at the same time, the bookies are saying City are the best chance to get a clean sheet.
I don't see it.
Yeah, they're first for XGC of the last 4. So I don't know. Loads of people are probably going to keep it on Vardy, right?
Yeah.
So
Leicester put in a good performance, didn't they, last season at the Etihad? It was a different sort of game because they were just trying to contain them. Remember, when it was that company strike that won them the game. So they have gone there and proved they can be quite solid. I mean, I had to look back at Soyuncu's points. I mean, I've got him benched at the minute, but he's only once this season scored less than 2, which is when he got 0, and that was the away game at Anfield. I think he got the yellow and he conceded 2. So the fact that he's basically got 2 as a base this season is quite encouraging. But I can see City scoring 2 goals against Leicester. So at the moment he's benched. He and Evans are the one that's going to carry threat from them. I think Maddison from these set plays and those 2 in the box, they've had 6 headed attempts between them. Each away from home this season, and had 2 big chances each on the road from headers. So I think if they're going to get some joy from set pieces, Soyuncu and Evans are definitely worth considering.
Who would you start out of Soyuncu and Hayden in my case?
It's so tricky.
Yeah,
so tricky.
It is.
I think I'd probably just play the fixture, which is probably bad of me, but I'd play the fixture because I think Hayden's got a good chance against Palace, and Soyuncu, and on their day, Man City could easily score 2 or more goals against any team.
Yeah, and
it's unlikely he gets an attacking return, but really tricky one.
Okay, so I wanted to mention Otamendi quickly. He's 5.5 million, 2.3% owned, and City defense is definitely a differential now.
Yeah.
And I believe Stones is out for a while. So I think Otamendi will probably play all of these Christmas fixtures. And he got 2 bonus in a 3-0 victory last week against Arsenal.
Yeah, that's good, isn't it?
And he did nothing attacking-wise.
Passed the ball like a madman.
Well, yeah. And I've had good memories of owning him before. I know a lot of people haven't had this season, but I haven't owned him at all this year. But I'm tempted to get on him at some point because I think their fixtures are actually all right for clean sheets. Wolves away, possibly not, but Sheffield United at home, Everton at home, Aston Villa away. Those three like good clean sheets, and you can possibly see it against Wolves as well. So we know that City defence can be good, and yeah, their City defence probably second best team in the league at the moment. You think there's points there still, and one that looks nailed on.
Yeah.
I'm tempted.
Well, he does like a goal. It does like a goal, doesn't he?
Exactly.
Being involved at a corner, so yeah, he's definitely one to watch.
Yep. And then Sterling as well, down to 11.8 million, 24.3% owned. But yeah, his last 7 weeks is 1, 2, 2, 7, 3, 2, and 10. So yeah, for an 11, 12 million-esque asset, it's not been great. No. But he's fourth for shots for mids. His XG is 2.38, which is actually first for mids, which he hasn't been there for a while. And he's joint first for big chances as well. And those are obviously the two best stats that you want to look for when you're looking for someone who's about to score goals. And obviously Leicester are solid, but yeah, like I said, no clean sheets against top six, and we know City can score loads. And I feel Sterling might be about to go on a run. So
yeah, why not?
I like him.
Why not? I'll also just say before we move on, because I wanted to mention this one. The reason I was talking about Soyuncu and Evans with their headed chances and big chances stems from the fact that Maddison's 5 assists this season have all come away from home. So I think if that is a good route to, I wouldn't say a cheap goal, but let's say a well-worked goal which you don't have to play well to get, if that makes sense. Get a foul, in a good position, get a free kick into the box, and yeah.
Soyuncu should have scored last week because he headed one right at... Who did they play again? I
Norwich
can't
at home.
remember. Norwich, yeah. He headed one right at the keeper. So yeah, that's why I'm tempted by it to just put Soyuncu in there for that goal. It would just be classic FPL for the player that you think is going to get 0 points. He gets a goal or something like that. So, yeah.
I remember a couple of seasons ago when Leicester won the title, and I think I might have had Robert Huth in my team. And I remember Huth scored at the Etihad when they won, I think 3-1 maybe, or 2-1 that day. And he got a monster haul third bench, so...
Oh, third bench.
Yeah, because you just expect when a team goes to the Etihad, they're probably going to get pummeled and put the defenders back there. So yeah, maybe it's not a bad shout this weekend. Be a risky one. Should we talk about Watford against United then?
Yes.
Sunday. A lot of people I've seen on sort of Twitter or just the general sort of FPL community saying that it's a good chance for United to get a clean sheet, but United's defence is like poop with a capital P. They've only had 2 clean sheets all season. The last one was in Gameweek 5, and both of the clean sheets they've had at home this season. I've got a bonus stat on how bad they are away from home. So of all teams playing away this weekend, United have conceded the most shots on target in the last 4 away games. So exactly, that's an eyebrow raiser. They're not.
But it is Watford.
Yeah, but I can guarantee we're going to be talking about Delafeu next week or this week and saying, is he an option again after he scores like a brace against United?
I mean, sure.
Shoot me down on this one, Keith.
Okay, so Watford's XG is 3.36 with only 1 scored.
Perfect amount.
That's 2 goals less than the team in 19th, which is whoever that is. I can't remember.
Norwich.
Yeah, possibly. So yeah, it's bad for Watford going forward. I don't think Pearson has given them much of a boost, to be honest. Defensively, they've been better. XGC of 5.58 with 6 conceded, not that bad, but they're obviously still giving up lots of shots and big chances. So I think United away on the counter, probably not.
Watford are going to sit in, aren't they?
Yeah. So I'm still tempted by the Rashford captain, just because we say that United do well against teams that attack them, but he scored against Brighton, he scored against Villa, he scored against West Ham. I think it's West Ham. He scored in games where teams sit in, so that doesn't put me off as much. And Watford, can always get pummeled. So,
well, he did okay against Everton stats wise. He had 6 shots. That was only his first blank since game week 3 at home. He's had 9 shots in the box, 4 big chances in the last 4. That's the second highest out of big chances for all players in the league, and XG of 3.1 in the last 4 as well. So I mean, he's showing really good numbers. And compared to Martial, he's United's main attacking threat. I mean, Martial against Everton had one blocked shot. Martial's really sort of dropped off. He's had 1 attacking return in 4, 1 big chance in the last 4, which is obviously 3 worse than Rashford. Most interesting stat I actually thought were touches in the box, because every time Martial plays, he's sort of like occupying that centre forward position. Rashford's playing out wide. Despite that, he's only had 9 touches in the box in the last 4 games. Martial, Rashford's had 26 by comparison. So Rashford is racing in that box a lot more than I would have thought compared to Martial, and I think he's proven himself, or proven why he is the better option at the moment.
I agree. This is the reason. This game really is the reason why I bought Rashford. Just because, obviously fixtures, and then I got rid of Jimenez. Thinking that I would captain Rashford in this game and the fixtures going forward. So,
oh my god, maybe you should then.
I think I probably will. I think at this stage, or this week at least, it's a place to go for whoever you want to captain, I think. And I can see it. I can see a penalty here for Rashford. I can see a possible free kick goal. There's
multiple
I don't
routes.
trust the guy, but I do fancy him this week.
Whoa.
Still.
We actually had a question in from, was it Davro the Legend? He said, Kieran, how does it feel to have a championship player in your team?
It feels, like I said, it feels terrible last week with him blanking and him as doing well. But I've got to trust him this week at least. And if he doesn't, then he's fully dead to me and he's gone.
Dead to you if he has a bad week. Oh, God.
Yeah.
We actually had another question in from Jack Paulus on YouTube. He said, is Rashford overhyped too much, and is he a risky option considering his value? And Paul, they play against the lower half sides. I mean, it seems like we've just sort of talked about that, but I mean, he hasn't done as badly as it's perceived to be against the lower sides, if you like, in the division. So, yeah.
Well, hold on. I'm looking through it now. He scored against Norwich.
Yep.
Scored 2 against Chelsea.
A lower team.
Sorry,
Yeah.
1 against Leicester, who obviously aren't traditionally a top 6, I guess, suppose. 1 against Brighton, 1 against Sheffield United. So
A few.
there's
A few.
Yeah, there's a few.
Okay.
But he's obviously scored against Tottenham, scored against City,
Yeah.
scored against Chelsea, scored against Liverpool. No, he didn't score against Arsenal, but yeah. So he has scored ones against crappy opponents. So yeah,
Why not Watford?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't think it's overhype. It's he's got the stats, so it's not. He has the stats to back it up. So I wouldn't say it's overhype in any sense, really. So he's just got to go and do it.
Yeah. All right. I like it. Okay. Let's talk about pop music. No, let's not talk about pop music. Let's talk about Spurs against Chelsea, and the last fixture of the game week, I believe. Obviously, Chelsea coming off the back of really poor form at the minute. 1 win, 4 losses in the last 5. And actually, I think Spurs can leapfrog them into 4th if they win this one. They've actually been playing quite well offensively. They've had 70 shots in the last 4, which is the second most in the league. But it's just their accuracy, and they're just shooting from poor positions. They've only had 24 on target. The defensive numbers aren't that bad. I think they've just been quite unlucky. But yeah, players like Pulisic and Mount have really gone off the boil. What would you sort of suggest to anyone who's still got Pulisic? I mean, the man's blanked 5 times in a row, but his stats are really good. He's had 13 shots in the box in that time, second most of all mids and forwards, 3 big chances, XG of 1.5. Do you think it's time to move on?
I think there was he's had 13 shots in the last 5, but I think in the last 2 maybe he's only had like 2 shots in the box. So I would probably move on from him. His fixtures are still decent though, so I think it's tough because is there anyone really around that range? Not really.
No.
I guess you want to go up to Ali or down to someone like, I guess, Grealish just for the time being. But yeah, I don't know. Eye test wise, I think he looks okay. Personally, if I had him, I'd probably still keep him. But he's liable to rotation now. I think got hooked last game as well. I think Cho probably deserves another chance. I think Mount is playing well-ish. So yeah, there's just rotation, isn't there? And if you want to go someone more nailed, then go for it. But yeah, I think it's just dependent on your team. I think keep is fine, sell is fine. Make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. what about Abraham then? We've spoken about him sort of a little bit earlier. He's blanked. It was 3 of the last 4 he's blanked. 4 shots against Bournemouth, and 73,000 managers had enough of him after that and got rid of him. But of all players to have played minimum 8 away games this season, he has the highest points per night. You know, I said Vardy had the second highest. It's Abraham who has more than him, 8.2, and he hasn't had that 20-point monster haul. I know he had a couple of double digits in there against some lower sides, but he's been really consistent. Do you want to guess who's in third place, Kieran, of all players who have played 8 games?
Well, I've got it down here, so I can't guess.
Well, everyone at home, quickly guess now. It's Harry Wilson. Can you believe that? I thought that was really surprising. So fair play to Harry Wilson. Yeah. I think he just seems to be dropping off form a little bit. So Abraham's had 2 big chances in the last 4, 10 shots on target. By comparison, I tried to find someone unlikely to have done better than him, and Sissoko at Spurs has had 3 big chances in the last 4.
It's that Jose effect.
It's the Jose effect. So even Sissoko is getting forward. So I don't know. Abraham, he's owned by 36% now. He's 8 million. I don't know. The blanks are a little bit concerning considering how good those fixtures were. Like home games against West Ham and Bournemouth, you would have expected some.
I think he scores this week.
Yeah. Okay. Do you?
Yeah. Spurs aren't that good defensively. They always seem to concede. So you always think they're going to get a clean sheet in like good fixture, but they always just concede one. And I think Chelsea will score this week, and I think it'll be Abraham.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well. Okay. Well, in that case, Kieran, case closed. We don't need to get rid of him. Hold him for another
their
week.
Fixtures are great. So,
yeah.
I mean, hold on, let me see.
They got Tottenham, Southampton, Arsenal, Brighton, Burnley. They are good.
Yeah, and then Newcastle away after that. Obviously, after that, I think it's possible worth selling because they got Arsenal at home, Leicester away, Man United at home, Tottenham at home. So those 4 are rough. But the sort of 18 to 23 area, I still think is good. And Arsenal is obviously a red difficulty fixture, but not really. No,
definitely not.
Yeah.
Nah, and also the fact that he's playing 90 minutes every week now, it seems like Lampard's trusting him more. He's obviously stayed on for the full 90 against Bournemouth. And he's Chelsea's main man. It won't be long before he becomes good again, but still, it is always a little bit concerning, isn't it? On the Spurs side of things, obviously, all of the key people blanked in the Wolves game. We did have a question in from... let me just remind myself who it was from. I think it was from Davro, the legend. He said, "What do you think of Lucas Moura as a differential? Would you be prepared to go with Lucas Moura over Christmas? I mean, he seems to have knocked Eriksen out of the side."
We have seen him rotated in a couple, haven't we? So I wouldn't say he's fully nailed on. And with Christmas coming, I think it's a risk. But it could be one that pays off. He'll probably play the majority of games, and you would expect him to be involved at least, and he has been in most of them. So yeah, could pay off. Could be a Pulisic change if you really want to go that way. But yeah, I don't think it's a bad option, but I think there's better options in that team. Obviously, Son and Ali. So yeah, Ali wise, does that sort of answer that question?
I think it does. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Ali, the double up didn't really work with most people who went Son and Ali last week. But obviously, a lot of KDB sellers went to Ali and Son. But yeah, I think it could work this week. I think there's probably goals in this game, right?
Yeah, I think so. I can't imagine
you did say Chelsea's defence have been good, so I don't know if there's going to be loads of goals.
It's been okay. They haven't been beaten. They've conceded 1 goal when they lost against West Ham and Bournemouth. They haven't really been thrashed and only lost 2-1, I think, against City, wasn't it? Yeah,
so, I mean, a lot of people are looking at captains for these players, but I'm not so sure. You know? I think it's going to be tighter than people think or expect. So, yeah, Ali, he had XG of 2.34, which is second for mids over the last 4 weeks. 10 shots, 6 key passes, 4 big chances, 1 big chance created. XA of 1.29, which is pretty high as well, and then 2 assists and 3 goals. And I think he could have had a couple others as well. So I'm tempted to sell money for him for the double up maybe this week, but I don't know. I'm probably not going to. But yeah, Sun-wise, it's an intermittent form at the moment. I think is about right. Yeah, he's a tempting captain choice, of course, but he's had 8, 10 and 12 in his last 3 home fixtures, which is obviously good. His XA of the last 4 weeks, 2.06, which is second. 7 shots, 8 key passes, 4 big chances created and 3 assists. Yeah, his XG is fairly low, actually. I haven't actually got written down for some reason. But so Son is having less shots. He's having less big chances. But he's getting his big chances created in XA is really high at the moment. So, you probably can't go wrong if you pick one of these. But yeah, like I said, I think it's kind of risky because Chelsea have been conceding, but they haven't conceded loads. So,
what do you think score's going to be then? Do you think it's going to be a tight game?
1-1.
Okay,
something
all right.
like that. Yeah.
So maybe, like you say, maybe not a captaincy game then.
I was really tempted when I looked at the Son stats of his home form of 8, 10, and 12. I was like, I did have Son as captain at one point this week, but at the same time, Chelsea are no mugs, and so yeah, I don't believe fully that Spurs can smash them. So
okay, yeah, I kind of agree. I think it's at the start of the week when I was thinking about, I did think there was one here. It was going to be a Tottenham easy win, but yeah, Chelsea they haven't statistically been that bad. And I think they've just been a bit unlucky against the poorer sides. I think they have a lot more space to play against Spurs. I think it'd be a close game.
Rudiger's back now, and he's done all right. And assuming Tomori might be fit, then it might be Rudiger and Tomori. So yeah, they've not really played together, but those two are good players. So yeah,
I like it. All right, Kieran, I think that wraps up our preview a bit. What do you think?
I think that's good.
All right, let's just talk briefly about captaincy then again. Just lock it in. I think I'm going to stick it on KDB this weekend and look forward to enjoying Man City against Leicester.
It's on Rashford for me at the moment. It might change to KDB just to stop you going ahead of me. No.
In the graphic we have, which you sent me, I think it's this morning or yesterday, you had Son captain then and Rashford vice. So would that swap around? Have you actually changed it since then? Or
so what have I got it on now?
In what you've sent me, you've got Son captain, and Rashford vice.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm probably going Rashford captain, I think.
All right.
And then if not, then it might be... I think I've talked myself out of Son, so it might be KDB or even Vardy still.
Oh my gosh. So you're indecisive, so I'm not surprised that's changed then.
I think Grealish is for captain shout as well.
Yeah, I think so too.
So
yeah, there's a lot of options because there's no real standout, if that makes sense.
Exactly.
But
so if it fails this week, I think a lot are going to fail this week. So I'm not too worried.
No, I think I'm going to go KDB and have Son vice. That's going to be me. Right, Cougar Cub picks. I believe it's your turn to go first this week, please.
I think both of these are really boring.
Okay.
I was tempted, but I'm going to go for the fun one actually, just because it will ruin your week. Josh King against Burnley at home.
Oh right. Okay.
Because it will ruin Pope's clean sheet, and that would be fantastic.
You better have a backup in case he's injured, because he's...
It's Richarlison's the backup.
All right, well, I'm going to double down on Wolves, and I'm going to go for Jota as my Cougar Cub pick, and I'm going to go, if he doesn't play, I'm going to go Traore, going all in. After that super hit last week, I was so pumped up watching him. I was like, you menace. Okay.
Traore's looked good.
He has been looked good. I was surprised. I didn't mention him earlier, but he's started every game since game week 4, which really surprised me, considering how in and out of the side he was last season. He's been fairly consistent this year.
Clean sheets.
Yeah, difficult to call them. Let's say Burnley.
God, yeah. Okay, is that it?
I honestly can't see many this week, to be honest. I'll say Burnley and Newcastle.
Who didn't? Yeah, sure. I've got Brighton down here as a possible one. Just a hope, I suppose. Yeah. And then Man United maybe is because Watford looks so bad. But like you said, Delafay we're going to be talking about next week.
Yeah. All right. Shall we just run through a few sort of questions off the cuff? Because we've got a few in. This is where we really relax and we don't answer very sensibly, but here we go. We had a question in from Dan Parsons 19 hours ago who said, tomorrow evening is tonight, right? That was one of my favourite questions on Twitter. So he didn't understand when tomorrow was. So Dan, it's today. Good, I hope that clears that up. We had some other good questions. Who are the best punts for a pre-game week 20 wildcard? So basically the next 2 game weeks. Who would you like as a punt? Just really off the cuff it.
Richarlison.
Yeah. I do like Richarlison.
Daniel James, maybe.
Daniel James. I didn't expect you to say Daniel James, but yeah, can see Daniel James coming in. Who would I have as an off the? I'd say Otamendi. We talked about him already, and I think Otamendi could be a really good shout. Also, I think Pookie as well. Wolves at home and then Villa away. I mean, he's not really like a super differential because he's still quite well owned, but I think he's in a lot of dead teams. Let's have a little look. Who would you fancy as a cheap defensive option this week to replace for Trent? We had that. Sorry, I should probably say who sent in that nice question. That was Mark Bison with the 2 best punts for pre-game week 20. That was on Twitter. We also had another question in from where's the good one? FC Busy, who said, when and how to prepare for game week 19, which is Leicester Liverpool, when you have 2 or 3 from each in your squad. So basically, yeah, we're looking at game week 19 where, I mean, I'll have 4 players involved in the same match. I think you'll have something similar. You just happy to play them all, hope for a goal fest? Should we be worried about benching or rotating, or just because they're good teams?
Oh, is that Leicester and Liverpool playing?
Yeah.
Yeah, just play each other, play them. Trent-wise, if you're getting them out, cheap-wise, I think Dunk, maybe. Willems, like you said, is okay. Maybe a Wolves defender, but they're not cheap because Cody doesn't do anything. Everton defender, possibly.
Yeah.
Sidibe, maybe.
Sidibe, I wouldn't. Yeah, he's actually looked really good.
Even just Otamendi at 5-0.
Yeah.
Cheap.
Yeah. We also had another question from Jack Paulus who said, who's the best option for a cheap defender, Aurier or Target? I'm assuming that's to replace or to get rid of a Liverpool defender who might be going out this week. I'd probably quite like to stick with Aurier. I think like Spurs have always got the capacity to keep a clean sheet. He's been really attacking, and Villa's defensive numbers have been so poor. I wouldn't really touch any of their defenders, even for a place on the bench, because they might not play at all.
Yeah, or out of those two for sure.
All right, I think that probably wraps up all the best of the questions. I mean, you guys sent in a lot, but thank you. Some of them are just like, who should I bench out of? And whilst I can answer them on Twitter, they're probably less fun for us to talk about. Cool, all right. Anything else you want to add before we wrap up the FPL, what was it, Wet Noodle and Soggy Chip Show?
Yeah. I'm expecting a low-scoring week, I think. I think it's going to be a boring one.
Oh, Kieran. Maybe just
hopefully not.
Spice it up, Kieran. Why not use your bench boost with Marley and Trent on there? That would really G you up.
You know, I'm going to triple captain Rashford.
Good lord. That'll be a lot.
What do you mean, good lord?
There'll be a lot to talk about on the show next week when you're like having a mid-season breakdown. Oh my god, I got...
That's already happened.
Has it? When did that happen?
Well, probably week 4 or something. Oh god.
All right. Okay, I think that wraps it up, doesn't it? Hour 16 on the clock. Thanks everyone for tuning in. If you've got any questions, pop them on the YouTube channel bit where Kieran and I can respond to you. And until next week, sometime when we record before Boxing Day, have a great game week 18. It's goodbye from me.
Cheers and good luck, everyone.
Bye.